something big is happening here. When I say the country's primed for revolution, it is. When the public realise the state of our nation, the safety of their children, the absolute destruction of our culture, our identity and our future, yeah, when they realise they're going to look at who's to blame, and they're going to look to the politicians, and they're going to look to the journalists, they're going to look at who lied, and they're going to look at who told the truth.
Hey guys, it's David Konnikov. I'm out here in Long Island, and you have to watch this video of Tommy Robinson on the Trigonometry podcast explaining exactly what's happening to Britain. There's a mass awakening of people realizing that their country is being taken over and people are fed up. Check it out.
I think that most people are sitting where we're sitting, as in something big is happening here. When I say the country's primed for revolution, it is. The mood of this nation, I've just, down the end of here, there's a petrol station with the Gregs. I had two people come up to me in that Gregs who are talking about September 13th. The level of feeling this country is, and the emotion and passion and fear that the public are having. When I see people, I remember I've gone through this 15 years. I've gone from being spat at, to being punched, to being hugged, to being embraced, to have my hand shaken. And that process is now where the country's at, where they're going to look, when the public realise the state of our nation, the safety of their children, the absolute destruction of our culture, our identity and our future, yeah, when they realise they're going to look at who's to blame, and they're going to look to the politicians, and they're going to look to the journalists, they're going to look at who lied, and they're going to look at who told the truth. And that's why even, I will talk about Katie Hopkins. Katie Hopkins had to flee Britain 4 years ago. Yeah, she was hated. She now comes back. I walk the streets with her. She gets a hero's reception, because people see that some people, and it doesn't mean anyone's perfect. Same with me. It means I made mistakes. People accept my flaws. Yeah. But we told the truth. We stood on principle and continued, regardless of their threats, their intimidation, their silence. And I don't blame people who are sitting out there who are scared to talk. You should be scared to talk, because we don't have free speech. We don't live in, how many people do you hear say we live in a free country? No one anymore. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows we don't. They're locking you up.
I haven't heard that phrase for years.
No.
See, I remember when I came to this country, I was a boy, right? That's what I thought. That's what I thought Britain was. That's what I thought the West was. And people would use that phrase. And in fact, I remember kids would tease me for being Russian, right? And I'd be like, shut up. And they'd be like, it's a free country. No one says it anymore. No one.
Not just anyone say it. You see what you just said. Up until 2009, when I started my activism, I thought I lived in a country with free speech. And then I realised, well, this country doesn't exist. And I'll give you an example. I was just arrested for this GB8 Section 18 to do with the gentleman. When I was arrested, I was detained and questioned and arrested for 3 tweets. One of the tweets I was arrested for was sharing a Daily Mail article. Yeah. Now, what they said is, they're basically trying to say, have you got qualifications as mainstream journalism? So I said, no. And then, so my solicitor said, well, all he's done is share what the Daily Mail said. And then they said, the Daily Mail are protected because recognised media are protected by this law. You're not. So it's like, well, I've shared something that's factual from the Daily Mail, but you're going to arrest me for it. And they arrested me for that, and also sharing a Palestinian flag that said Hamas, Palestine, Islam, and I shared it and just said this. I've been arrested for that. We don't live in a free country. Now, I wouldn't mind, but they weren't arresting people for calling for jihad. This two-tier level of policing, they're not arresting. It's like hate speech laws are not there to prevent hate. They're there to shut us up. And one level's being shut up and the other level get amplified opportunity to promote their hate and intolerance. If they want to implement real hate speech laws, this would be banned. The Quran would be banned tomorrow, because there's 100 verses in here that call for violence.
Lots of books will be banned. You can buy Mein Kampf.
But that's banned. No, okay, you can buy Mein Kampf.
I thought you were going to pull it out there, Tommy.
No, you can buy Mein Kampf, but these 3 books are banned by Amazon, yeah? This is just my life story. This is not my opinion. This is the Quran, and what this Quran does. Do you know the term Islam is the religion of peace?
I have heard that.
Yes.
But no one had ever said it until George W. Bush. We sat for months trying to find, historically, figures, military, religious, political, that ever said Islam was religion of peace. And all you'll find is Islamic leaders saying, no, it's a war manual. It's warrior manual, yeah? So that lie, which was told by George W. Bush, is now just repeated as some sort of fact. But these books were all banned by Amazon. As you just said, you can buy Hitler's book. So how can you ban? There's nothing hatred in these, but you're literally burning books now. And you're burning books that challenge your your failures again. And what is the demographical change to this nation, and what does it look like? So as anyone watching this, okay, 5-6% of the country are from the Islamic background. Look at the mayhem from 5-6%. What do you actually think it's going to be like at 20%? This isn't fear-mongering. We've got a duty as English men and women to protect this country and to protect our kids. And everyone's seen what's happened since October 7th. It's accelerated. Well, what are we going to do? Because unfortunately, a lot of the groups that were for harmony are actually calling for the obliteration of an entire state of people. And people have seen it now. There's no smoke screens. People can see the hate. And it's not a minority, it's mainstreamed. And unfortunately, that mainstream hate is coming from the left and the liberal left, along with an Islamist alliance, which we've seen this alliance before. We've seen it in Iran. We've seen where the communists and the Marxists joined along with the Islamists to overthrow and topple the country. And the first thing that the Islamists done is kill them. So we've seen it. And I just think that, as a generation of British men, are we really scared to talk about this shit? Are we actually going to remain silent and look at our country and see that there's 1,000 years of Christian history in this country, over 1,800 years Christianity's been in Britain, but 1,000 years of England. We're going to let, in 70 years, spineless, corrupt, globalist politicians import medieval backward cultures into this country and allow them to grow dominant and superior to us? That's what we're seeing. Luton is a blueprint for every town and city. You can ignore it because you think it's Luton, but it's your town tomorrow. And the demographical change and the growth in this nation shows that. So yes, you made the comment earlier about your taxi driver, who's probably a lovely man. I bet a lot of Germans were lovely during the war. I bet loads of them were lovely. It doesn't stop the dangers of Nazism. What we see with Islam, not Muslims, again, people don't understand. So if I criticise the Bible or Jesus, it doesn't mean I hate Christians, does it? It doesn't mean I hate every person that follows it. So separate the two. Muslims are people. If you speak hatred against Muslims, it's bad. You entice or encourage violence against Muslims, totally wrong. Your God-given right is to look at this book as an Englishman and say, what does this bring? It's a book. It's my right to look at Muhammad's life and say having sex with children is pretty wrong, though. Yeah? You're not really a moral compass that we should be following. In fact, we shouldn't just be following you. Do you know my local politician, Gavin Suker? He was a Labour politician, and at the height of the English Defence League, I'd never met him, and there was a chicken shop in Luton and he was in there. So I walked in and said, all right, Gavin, you held a Celebrate Muhammad Day at Parliament. He said, yeah. I said, what do you know about Muhammad? What do you actually know about him? He goes, well, no, Muslims respect him. I said, okay, well, Nazis respect Hitler. I said, let's celebrate Hitler, shall we? What do you know about him? And he's just looked gobsmacked. You don't know anything, do you? You don't know anything about him. Yet here you are pandering. It's like Jess Phillips basically sitting on her knees in a mosque. It's mental. The level of absurdity, appeasement, cowardice from those politicians. We've got 650 politicians in Parliament and not one of them's ever spoke about Islam. Since Churchill and Gladstone, no one in that House of Parliament, bearing in mind the jihad attacks, think about Manchester, think about 7/7, think about Lee Rigby, we've had all these attacks.
But it's worse than that, man. It's worse than that. One of their colleagues was killed by an Islamist. So David Ames, do you remember this?
Yeah, but the public probably don't even know who he is.
Because all the MPs stood up. Do you remember what they talked about in the House of Commons?
Probably Islamophobia.
No, they talked about online hate. We got to crack down on their colleague has just been murdered by an Islamist.
A Somalian jihadist, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah. Murdered by an Islamist in a surgery, in a constituency surgery, i.e. the thing that they all go and do.
And his family is still trying to fight.
They're still trying to get
his whole family is still trying to fight.
His daughter.
His daughter's still trying to fight against a system that, do you know why they can't have that conversation? Again?
I can tell you why, because I've speak to them.
Go ahead.
They're all terrified. And by the way, like you said, they're not wrong. They're not wrong to be terrified.
The problem is they're terrified, but we're not anymon
I don't think the public is terrified.
Public are not terrified anymore.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you put us in prison. Yeah, well, that didn't work, did it, mate? You know what I mean? That doesn't work. Okay? That doesn't work. And it doesn't work because once there's a reality that the country is at stake, that the entire Christian nation, that the entire population and culture and identity and children's future is at stake, we don't care about you putting us in jail. Yeah, because these are an argument I had with my ex-wife so many times. Yeah, she's like, just shut up. What about the kids? I said, this ain't about the kids. What about their kids?
I mean, it is about the kids.
But
so-
it is. But what I mean is, she's like, just shut up to make sure our kids have a say. I said, okay, but what about when they have kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're a minority. I know what it's like to be a minority in Islam. I've seen it my whole life. I know what it's like. Go ask the Christians in Afghanistan. Go ask the Christians in Iraq. Go ask them in Syria right now. Go and ask the Druze. Go and ask them what's happening.
You
What's
can't because they're fucking dead.
And they're all dead or getting killed.
Wow, probably the best clip I've ever seen breaking down exactly the state of the UK right now. Tommy Robinson has been fighting this for a long time. And the cowardice of the politicians, like Keir Starmer, who recently recognized the Palestinian state. And his country is being taken over by Islamists. It's like, why don't you recognize a Palestinian state in Britain? You like pathetic European leaders who want to dictate to the world how to behave, whilst you completely, ignore your own countrymen, the people that are native to the country, the people that in many cases got you elected. You then tell them, no, we're just going to let the borders stream open. We're going to let the Islamists in. We're going to let them take over, and we don't care about anything that the public has to say. And that's why, slowly but surely, the left in Britain, the left in Europe is going to die. And there is a mass awakening happening, as Tommy Robinson put it. People are sick of this. People are going to wake up, and something very big is going to happen soon, hopefully in Britain and in the UK, in Europe as a whole. For more, subscribe to the channel. If you want to help us make more of these videos, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JewishUncensored. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.